How's it going, good people? My name's Pedro, and in my time I've had a couple of different keyboards. I've had second-hand, half-decent keyboards, pretty cheap budget keyboards that are just thrown in a mouse and combo bundle, all the way up to expensive semi-custom solutions. Now today we're looking at a keyboard from the brand Glorious, which really doesn't need any sort of introduction into peripheral space. Specifically today, this is the GMMK Pro, a 75% keyboard that pretty much retains a lot of the great features of custom keyboards, but puts it in a package that is a little more affordable and definitely a lot more mass producible from Glorious's end as well. Now, before we jump into the video today, if I can take 2 seconds of your time to maybe hit that like button. Get subscribed if you're not, because we've recently hit 100 subs, which is phenomenal to think about. Now, without further ado, let's jump into it. There are a couple of aspects that I really like about the GMMK. To start off with, I am a big fan on the hefty feel of this keyboard. While looking slim and slender, it has a fair bit of weight and heft that stops it from moving or sliding around your desk, while at the same time providing a very sturdy and very satisfying type feel to use this keyboard with. One of the benefits from this kind of semi-custom solution is that you're able to add in any kind of switches you want because of the 5-pin hole support. There is no sort of rattling, pinging, or unwanted noises that would take away from the typing experience at all. I've been daily driving the Pro for the last 3 or so weeks, and I've been a big fan of it. For my specific build of this keyboard, I've managed to put in some white silent switches from Kale, coupling that with a set of Cyberpunk Mito laser switches. This whole configuration of this keyboard came in to be about $5 to $550 just for this entire build, which I know is definitely more expensive than some other keyboards we've looked at in the past, and definitely not for everyone. But for my specific situation, I really wanted to give this keyboard a shot and see what the higher end mass market keyboards have to offer. Along with that as well, I really did like the little knob at the top where I was able to easily control things like volume, be able to pause my music whenever I'd want to, without needing to constantly toggle between applications or having to shift tab out of a document to open up Spotify. So now, to balance out this overview on this keyboard, I really want to talk about a couple of things that I wasn't completely sold on with the GMMK Pro. To start off with, the eye-watering $250 price point is definitely not something that anyone can easily swallow. Yes, it is a fantastic product and feels great to touch, and I can understand the amount of work and production costs that go into it, but $250 is still a lot for something that you still need to put more money into in the format of keycaps and switches, which, mind you, aren't included. And that's probably the second gripe I have with this keyboard. Not including any sort of variants to have things like switches included or even keycaps included to potentially get you out of the gate and set up to go immediately is definitely a missed thing on Glorious. I know it might need to cost a little extra to add just cheaper switches in there, or maybe even a little more extra to add a set of keycaps in there, and then maybe sell the bare bones unit as an option. But the fact that that isn't even an configuration that anyone else can pick up is a little bit of an oversight on Glorious's side, and I really think it wouldn't be too much effort to add those in. Finally, I'm not a fan of the software that comes with this keyboard. The Glorious Core application is clunky to say the least. To start with, the fact that when I plug in my keyboard, it doesn't automatically detect it when the software is running is really odd from my end. On top of that as well, once the keyboard is recognized and you are using the software, it is just very clunky to be able to make changes and save them to the keyboard. A feature that I really liked at the start was the macro functionality, or I thought I liked the macro functionality. In all honesty, the more I looked online and the more I tried to find workarounds for the software, I ended up realizing that it's probably just better to install something like AutoHotkey and set up my macros that way, because it just seemed easier to set up a macro script in an external piece of software than the one that was included with the keyboard. That is the major cons when it comes to this keyboard. It's all around the little things that I think really should be done well for a high-end product that's costing you at least $250 to take out of the box and use. So now, if you were to pick up the GMMK Pro, I really don't think you'd be disappointed. It's a fantastic keyboard, holds up well to the competition, has a lot of great features that you really can't get elsewhere, and all of this while having a pretty reasonable price tag for the custom market. And you can actually get your hands on this without crazy back orders or having to do shady online deals. All in all, this keyboard is a fantastic buy, and it definitely has some minor gripes. Probably the biggest is the software, but once again, that can be improved over time if Glorious puts the effort in. Either way guys, that's been it from me. I'd love to hear from you. What kind of keyboard are you using at the moment? Do you even look at these more expensive high-end or semi-custom peripherals, or are you way more on the budget, trying to keep it as cheap as possible so that way your gaming rig can be as baller as possible? I'd love to hear from you, but either way guys, my name's been Pedro and I hope you all have a good one.